Well, that was during today's House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing. It's still ongoing at this time. We learned during that hearing that Secretary of State Hillary Clinton will appear before the committee to testify about Benghazi. That's big news. Joining us now is the head of that committee who made that announcement, Florida Congresswoman Elena Ros-Lehtinen. Congresswoman, nice to have you today, and thank you for stepping out of the hearing.
Thank you.
That's big news about Secretary of State Clinton. We were able to take some sound from your hearing today because it's an open hearing. It's not classified, but a lot of hearings are on Benghazi. So what do we know about Secretary Clinton's appearance? Will it be an open hearing, and when will it happen?
Well, it's been very shameful, the administration's lack of transparency and accountability when it comes to answering the tough questions that the American people, through their elected representatives, are asking about whether we did everything possible to save these brave American lives, when we know that time and again their requests for further security, those requests went unanswered. So yes, we've had a lot of private classified briefings, including one yesterday. I'll have one again tomorrow, but today's hearing was an open one. It was a way to pressure the administration into doing the right thing, and thankfully it worked, because Secretary Clinton has confirmed with us that she will be appearing before us. We are still in conversations about whether it will be in a classified or an open process, but we want it to be an open hearing. That we're now going to have by then the results of this review process, and I think the American people want to know, was it the lack of funding? Now, we've had Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Charlene Lamb has said that funding was not the problem, that the funding was there. We also heard
for
today
extra security, right? Just so our viewers are clear, that the funding that odds is about whether or not the funding was there for the appropriate amount of security.
That's right, because people want to blame, oh, we didn't have enough money. That is just not true for the Benghazi operation. And today in our hearing, we heard from GAO that did a report for us, and their conclusion, they were testifying, diplomatic security missions and the resources needed to carry it out have grown substantially since 1998. Its budget increased from $200 million in '98 to $1.8 billion in the year 2008. So funding is not the problem. It's where we're putting our resources, and why did we ignore these pleas from our men in harm's way to get more protection in Benghazi? So you mentioned Secretary Clinton will have those answers.
You mentioned the report from the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, often does these reports in a nonpartisan manner to bring in more information. The timeline, Congresswoman, when do you expect to hear from Secretary Clinton?
Well, we hope that as soon as this review process is done, which will be done sometime in December, she has agreed to appear before us in our Foreign Affairs Committee, as well as Senator Kerry's Foreign Affairs Committee. It will probably be mid-December, as soon as the review is completed. And what we want to ask is, the timeline is so important to follow this tragedy about this ongoing attack that took hours, and the President knew, did the Secretary Clinton know? Why was Susan Rice sent out to 5 national news shows to repeat this already maligned storyline, that is what Biden would say malarkey, about spontaneous protest, a reaction to a video, when they must have known? Everything indicates that they knew immediately that this was a coordinated, pre-planned attack, and we want answers, and so we want to prevent another Benghazi in the future. This is something
our viewers have been following this story so closely, as have we on Fox News, and we tend to kind of go over some of the same points that are brought up over the last several weeks because the answers still are not there. Because you've had some information from private briefings, I'm just curious on whether or not you feel like you have more answers today than you did last week. Do you feel like progress is actually being made?
No, I feel that every time we have another classified briefing, and every time we try to pry a little bit deeper, we get more conflicting timelines, we get more conflicting reports about what was actually taking place and what messages were being sent to Washington, what did the administration know, and we've got to do something to make sure that our personnel in harm's way, including diplomats, they are in the front lines, that these diplomatic posts are protected and that they have the security that they need. Much was made about the George W. Bush administration. Oh, we should have known that 9/11 was happening, and all of those voices who were blaming George W. Bush, now they're so silent and trying to cover up what has been happening with Benghazi. So we want to prevent this from happening in the past. We hope that Secretary Clinton will provide that light, and we hope that it will be an open hearing for the American people to judge for themselves whether we have everything we need in place to prevent another Benghazi attack from taking place.
It's a story we're going to continue to follow. The question about bipartisanship is a big one, Congresswoman, and we look forward to having you back as we continue to watch the developments. Thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you. We appreciate your attendance to it. Thank you.